The manosphere is a term used to describe a collection of websites, blogs, and online communities that focus on men's issues and interests. The manosphere has been growing in popularity in recent years, as more and more men have become dissatisfied with the mainstream narratives about masculinity. The manosphere is often painted as a judgmental and reactionary movement, but this is a gross oversimplification. Yes, there are some bad apples in the manosphere who espouse hateful and biased views, but they are in the minority. The vast majority of manosphere writers are simply seeking to promote a more balanced and healthy view of masculinity. One of the most common criticisms of the manosphere is that it is anti-feminist. This is simply not true. There are many different opinions on women's rights within the manosphere, but the overall consensus is that women's rights has gone too far and needs to be reformed. This is not an anti-feminist position, but a constructive one. The manosphere is a complex and sometimes controversial movement, but it is ultimately a force for good. It is a space for men to explore their masculinity and to find support and solidarity with other men. It is a place where the manosphere is a term used to describe a collection of websites, blogs, and online communities that focus on men's issues and the male perspective. The manosphere has been accused of being judgmental, and there is certainly a lot of anti-feminist sentiment within the manosphere. However, there are also many men within the manosphere who are not judgmental and who are critical of women's rights from a male perspective. The manosphere is not a unified movement, and there are a variety of different perspectives within it. However, there are some common themes that run through much of the manosphere. One of these is the idea that women's rights is harmful to both men and women. Women's rights is seen as being responsible for a range of problems, including the decline of marriage, the rise of single motherhood, and the decline of men's mental health. There is also a strong focus on men's rights within the manosphere. This includes the belief that men are discriminated against by the family law system, that they are being increasingly marginalized within society, and that they are the victims of false romance accusations. The manosphere is a controversial movement, and there are certainly some judgmental and anti-feminist elements within it. However, there are also many men within the manosphere who are critical of women's rights from a male perspective and who are working to improve the lives of men and boys. There's a lot of talk these days about the manosphere, a loose collection of websites, forums, and blogs that focus on men's issues from a male perspective. Some people see it as a positive force for change, while others view it as a hobby of bias and misogyny. So what's the truth about the manosphere? Is it a dangerous place for women, or a necessary counterbalance to a society that often seems to be stacked against men? Here's a look at some of the most common arguments made by both sides. The manosphere is full of angry, judgmental men who hate women. There's no denying that there are some angry, judgmental men in the manosphere. But it's important to remember that not all men in the manosphere are like that. In fact, many men in the manosphere are simply seeking to level the playing field after years of feeling like they've been at a disadvantage. Some of the anger in the manosphere is directed at women's rights, which is seen as a movement that has favored women at the expense of men. But it's important to remember that not all women's rightists are man-haters. In fact, many women's rightists are working to achieve equality for both sexes. The manosphere is a hobby of pickup artist, PUA, activity. There's no denying that the manosphere is home to a lot of PUA activity. But it's important to remember that not all men in the manosphere are PUAs. In fact, many men in the manosphere are critical of the PUA community and the pickup artist lifestyle. The manosphere is a dangerous place for women.